Hey, what's going on, everybody? So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Mandalorian and Grogu from Arvala-7. So this was a pack figure slash build-up pack that I was going to pass on. I was not interested at all in this at first. And, the $37 price point, that's a little steep. But the more I thought about it, I was like, I kind of wouldn't mind having this, So I noticed that it went back up on Target's website last week, and it happened to be at the same time they were running the 20% off. So that brought it down to $30. So that's a little better, but I'm actually kind of happy I grabbed this. And Target sent this out in a box. Now the box was barely big enough. There's a few little dings here and there. The box was barely big enough. No bubble wrap whatsoever, but overall, the box is in pretty good shape. So good job, Target, sort of. And speaking of boxes, comes in the Galaxy packaging. This one's slightly bigger. It's like a deluxe size box. Through this massive window, you can see the mud-covered Mando. Comes with his ambient phase pulse rifle. Got his IB-94 blaster pistol. You have the original Pram on its little clear stand. You got Grogu with his eyes shut, and then you have the egg, the Suga. So that is pretty cool to have. And of course, you got Star Wars The Black Series up top. Star Wars The Mandalorian there, and The Mandalorian and Grogu Arvala-7. Now, at this point in the show, Grogu was not named, so I'm kind of surprised they put Grogu. He was still the child or the asset, whatever. So I'm kind of surprised they put Grogu on there, but it's okay. And on this side of the box, front window wraps around, and of course, you got Star Wars The Black Series down there. And there's the side with the artwork. Great looking picture. Got the mud horn in the background. Absolutely love that. And of course, you have Mando covered in mud. You got the Suga. And of course, Grogu in his little Pram using the Force. And down there, you have a description of what you're getting. And it's a nice looking picture. I like that a lot. And there's the window that's on top. And on the bottom, barcode. And I have this ugly sticker that covers up all the stuff no one reads. I don't know why Target loves stickers. They love stickers. And there's the back. Same picture as the side. Short bio in 5 different languages. This pack is number 14 in this little Mandalorian wave. And then you have some more stuff that no one reads. All right, I'm going to get Mando and all these little things out of this box. And let's take a look at them. Okay, so here is the Arvala-7 Mandalorian out of the box. And I think I'm mainly just going to concentrate on the paint in this video. The mud. Because there's really no difference between this one and the original Mando, with the exception of the right shoulder pad. This one, he had that Scarif Trooper shoulder pad, and then halfway through the first episode in the first season, he got it replaced with this Beskar one. So that's really the only difference in the armor. And of course, this is damaged. But apart from that, it's the same figure. But let's take a look at this mud first. So up here on the helmet, the splatter on the visor in particular looks pretty good. I think they did a pretty good job with this. It has a really neat kind of texture to it, kind of a feel to it. In fact, the whole figure feels kind of rubbery. From top to bottom, it just has a cool little rubbery feel to it. I don't know. It's different, but yeah, the mud does look good. It's pretty uniform. It's not as splotchy as I thought it would be, as far as the bumpiness of it, with like little mud balls just splattered here and there. It's just kind of uniform all over the helmet, but it does feel good, and the splatter on the visor is very nice. And there's a look at the damaged chest armor. You can see all this in here, some detail. This is bent down. Now, of course, in the show, this was really bent down. That probably would have been kind of hard to do, so they just bent this little corner down here and just made the whole thing kind of crooked. But it's fine. It's fine. The belt coming across, of course, is muddy. Everything is muddy. The detail is the same. Same belt, same everything as the original. It's just covered in mud. But again, the texture is pretty cool. It's kind of heavier here than on top. The legs are pretty uniform as far as the mud, the coverage. There's not that many splatters or splotches. Now, of course, this gauntlet, it's got a little more mud down here compared to up here. The gloves are very muddy. Same with this gauntlet, some more mud here compared to here. The cape, got a few little spots there, and there that aren't as muddy, but, overall it's just muddy brown color, whereas the original was this, the gray color. So it's supposed to represent mud. Now, sadly, the back was They just didn't even bother with the back. Now, if you remember the episode, he wound up on his back quite a bit, and something tells me this cape would not prevent his whole back from getting muddy. The back of the legs should be muddy. His butt should be muddy. Yeah, the whole thing should have been covered in mud. I mean, it just, this doesn't surprise me. And yes, it's on the back. You're not going to see it that often, but it would have been nice to have the whole thing covered in mud. But the highlight of this figure, I think, is this helmet. I mean, this really does look good. All these little splatters here on the visor, the cape, the damaged chest armor. It looks pretty good. And I'm not going to spend too much time on articulation. I mean, everything is the same. The arms are the same. They rotate around. You got the same bend at the elbow. It's the same figure, but it does have pretty good range. Swivel at the elbow. These gauntlets will swivel just a little bit. This one, yeah, the gauntlets will turn just a little bit. Then, of course, you have swivel at the wrist. The right hand has a really nice up and down hinge. The left hand has the side-to-side hinge. Legs are the same. They go up the same. They go out the same. They go way out. They go back a little bit. You got some twist, just a hair of twist. A little bit of crunch, a little bit of, actually the back is pretty good. And of course you got some tilt. So the articulation is exactly the same as the other Mando. Same detail on the belt. It's the same figure, just this is damaged and of course everything is muddy. So next let's take a look at his weapons. So this is the IB-94 blaster pistol. It is exactly the same as the original, just a different color. If you notice on the original, the grip was black. This one is a light brown. And the frame and barrel and everything of the pistol, this is a much lighter silver compared to that one, but apart from that, it's the exact same sculpt. It's a really cool looking blaster. There's the flip side, just more of the same. Kind of would have been nice if they would have muddied this up a little bit. And there's a good look at his Ambon Phase pulse rifle. This is exactly the same as the original, just a slightly different color. If you notice, the stock is a little bit lighter brown. All this in here is a little bit lighter silver. Apart from that, pretty much the same. I mean, yeah, just a little bit different color. Now, it really would have been nice if they would have muddied this up a little bit, because he had this out, ready to shoot the mud horn or shock him or something. He had this out, but the fact that it was so muddy and grimy, it malfunctioned. So it really would have been nice if they would have dirtied this up, put some mud on the stock, put some of that mud paint all in here, because, again, that's what caused it to fail. Yeah, that would have been nice to see if they would have made this dirty instead of just using the same exact one. So yeah, the weapons are the same, but again, it really, really would have been nice if they would have put this paint on both of these weapons. But speaking of weapons, the one weapon that they should have included with this figure is a knife. So I grabbed the knife off of Cara Dune, and I have found that it is too loose. It does not stay. It just flops all around. I mean, it's almost criminal that they did not include a knife with him. I mean, that's what he killed the Mudhorn with, and that's what this is from. That's the scene that it's from. But I did find that Hunter's knife stays in pretty well. Okay, yeah, that's not a bad look. So you can have him something like this. He's just sitting there. He's just kind of waiting to die. He's got his head sideways. He's defeated. He's ready to die. And he can do something like that. Okay, that's not a bad look actually, using Hunter's knife. Yeah, it is unfortunate that they didn't include a knife with him, but this is an option. That's not a bad look. But again, Hasbro really, thank you. Yeah, they should have included a knife with him. Big enough handle. It's a small blade. Mando's knife is not big, but this is not bad here. So I just wanted to bring this up. It's the last time I'm going to talk about it, but yeah, just wanted to throw this out there. So next, let's take a look at the Pram. So this is the original Pram, the one that we saw at the end of the first episode in the first season, the very first one that Grogu was in. And I think the detail on this is very nice. There's a hole for the stand to plug into. It's got some nice scratches, got some great detail on the inside, got some yellow back there in the back, got a little black here. I guess that's supposed to be like padding down there in the bottom, some silver in the back. Got some nice detail up here, some scratches, some more paint here. Too bad this does not, close or anything. That would have been nice. That probably would have been kind of hard to engineer. But that's what that looks like, and that's a nice looking Pram right there. I really like this a lot. And there's the stand for it, and it just goes right in there, just like that. And that is a super tight fit. Wow, okay. All right, so that works. That works. So now let's take a look at this Grogu that comes with this set. So this is static. The head does turn just a little bit, and the hands will rotate just a little bit. But that is it. The feet are fixed, and the arms are fixed. It is basically a little static statue, just a Grogu statue. But if you put him inside the Pram, let me get this thing to focus back on the Pram, you can just drop him in there like that, and there he is using the Force. And that looks fine. I don't have a problem with that. And there's a look at the egg. It is a furry little thing. It's got a nice texture to it. It's a great sculpt. Again, it would have been nice to put that paint on this thing, because this was muddy too. You know, everything was muddy. But this is like surprisingly clean. And of course the top pops off to reveal the yolk inside. It's just, you know, it's just a solid piece. It's a nice color, very similar to the color of the yolk that we saw in the show. Got a little bit of a swirliness to it that just sits on there. Yeah, it's a great looking sculpt. I just wish they would have kind of put that sort of mud texturing on this. And something else that would have been nice if they would have made the bottom of this just slightly flat. I mean, there is a happy spot that you can find to make this stand up there. Okay, so if you have this on the shelf like this, it does stay, but if anyone in the room burps, farts, or sneezes, it's probably gonna fall over and then just act like a little weeble wobble on the shelf. But yeah, there is a happy spot there, okay. But the slightest little, let's see if I can get it to fall over. Okay, well, it'd have to be a pretty powerful sneeze. Okay, well, I take back what I said. It does, it stays. You just kind of have to find that spot. But, you know, we shouldn't have to be trying to balance this thing. They should have made the bottom flat. You know, just a little more flat, just so you can, boop, just stand the thing. Okay, well, all right, there. That's what the bottom looks like. It's not flat. I think I got lucky a few times. It's just furry on the bottom. Well, it's not furry. It's supposed to represent fur. It does stand up. I wish they did make it like actually flat on the bottom. But it's a cool piece. It's nice to have this for sure. You know, the yolk inside does look pretty cool. Yeah, there's the Suga. Here, let's get back to these weapons for a second. I'm going to holster this pistol because during this scene, you know, he didn't have the pistol. The shot from the outside of the cave, I think we heard the pistol a few times. And then, of course, he was launched out of the cave. So the pistol's probably still laying in the cave, you know, during this whole sequence. But I'm just going to go ahead and holster his pistol. And it's just like the other holster. That pegged in really nice, actually. Yeah, so that's what that looks like. And I don't think I'm going to put this on. If you have any of the Mando figures, you know this is an absolute pain in the rear end to get this to go in. You know, you have to back flex him a little bit to get those holes to line up. See what I mean? The hole in the belt, if he's kind of neutral, the hole in the belt does not quite line up with the hole in his back. So you have to back flex him a little bit to get that to line up. But just for the sake of the video, I'll plug this in. See if this one's any better. No, it's the same. It just barely sits there. It makes the cape want to sit funny, and if you try to fix the cape, it wants to like just push the rifle out. But that's what the rifle looks like on him. It does work, kinda. You just have to be very mindful that that thing is just barely sitting in there. But again, I think I'm going to just leave the rifle off because during this whole sequence, this rifle was on the ground, dirty and muddy and non-functioning. So I'm just going to leave this off. Now it's stuck in the belt there. So getting back to this egg, I mean, if you want to have him pose like this, if you want to have him holding the egg, I mean, this kind of works. So the roughness of the egg against the rubberiness of this painted, you know, mud, it actually stays put. It's really, you know, it's not a bad look. And speaking of not a bad look, I think this looks pretty good. This little Grogu with his hand out in the Pram with his eyes closed. Yeah, that's, I kind of like that. And that's what he looks like on the shelf. So I have the egg in his hand. The Jawa is excited. And I got just Grogu back there in the back. And, this looks pretty good on the shelf. This whole mud-covered look. It's a great scene in the show. And I must say, the paint application of the mud actually looks pretty nice. I like it. The egg is cool. The Pram and Grogu look great. And of course, the Jawa. Yeah, he's happy. But that's what it looks like on the shelf. He's exactly, just like the other Mando as far as height. That's what they look like. So, there's that one. Same size figure, so that kind of gives you an idea of scale. But yeah, he does look really good on the shelf, and actually kind of happy I picked this up. And in case you're wondering about Grogu, he is the same size as the other Grogu figure, with the exception of, well, the height is lost in the feet. Because on this Grogu figure, the feet can move. These are just sort of painted on the bottom. So I think that's where the height gets lost, because it does look a hair shorter. But I think if you were to put him, put the bottom of his little robe at the same point as that one, he'd be the same size. So that's what they look like together. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this overall. It's not a bad figure. I mean, the mud I think looks pretty good, for what it is. I mean, I kind of wish it was on the back too, because he was on his back a lot during that whole sequence. I really wish they would have dirtied up the back. But, it's fine. But the splatter on the visor is just great. I love this in here. The damaged chest armor, kind of wish it was a little more dinged up, but they can only do so much. So I'm fine with it. It's okay. But the mud throughout, the arms, chest, all this in here, legs look pretty good. I mean, it's fine. For what it's supposed to be, it's fine. This egg is pretty sweet. I mean, this is a great sculpt, great texture. It feels really nice. It's cool that they did that. I mean, that's pretty sweet there. Kind of wish it stood up a little bit better. I mean, you can get lucky a few times, but for the most part, it does there. It does stand, but again, it's probably going to fall over fairly easily. But the egg looks great, especially down here. I mean, it just has such a cool feel to it. So I'm pretty happy they included the egg. And as far as Grogu and the Pram, I mean, this looks great. The Pram looks fantastic. The paint, the scratches, all the detail up in here, the sculpt, just very nice. The inside looks really good. Now Grogu, of course, it's a statue. He's static. The arms are fixed. The wrists do move and the head will turn. But the face on him, I think looks really nice. And I think the sculpt work on his little robe looks really good. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with this. I mean, I think this is a pretty cool little build-up pack that they did. I think Grogu's great. The egg is cool, same weapons, but I think overall, this looks pretty cool. I'm glad I didn't pay full price. I mean, got it for $30 with free shipping. That's not terrible considering what all you get. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this overall. But please comment below. I want to hear from you guys and let me know what you think of this Mando Grogu build-up pack from Arvala-7. And if you like videos on Star Wars The Black Series, please consider dropping a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and please turn on notifications. I'd certainly appreciate it. And I just thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.